Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about algebra and scientific or exponential notation. Now I already spoke about scientific notation in the previous video. I'm going to put the link in the description. So this video is only going to be about addition, subtraction, multiplication and division on scientific notation. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So there are few rules which you need to be knowing about before solving any examples. So I'm going to write the rules along with examples. So the first rule is, so rule number one, which no one's going to talk about because they want to directly jump into the problems. So I'm going to detailedly talk about all the rules involved in this particular problems. So the first rule is a to the power m into a to the power n equal to a to the power m plus n. You probably know about these rules, but sometimes people might have forgotten this. So I'm going to recap everything. So for example, suppose you have 10 power 6 into 10 power 7. Remember, the bases are same, and the exponentials are different. When you have in such a case, you can literally add the exponents. So according to the rule, so these are the exponents, this is equal to m and this is equal to n. So what you're going to do is add them. So 6 plus 7, your answer is going to be 10 to the power 13. So this is the first rule. Second rule is a to the power m divided by a to the power n is equal to a to the power m minus n. So let's talk about few examples. So 10 to the power 6 divided by 10 to the power 7, I'm going to take the same example, same numbers. So in this case, this is your m and this is your n, and your base is, this is a and this is a. As the base is same and the exponentials are different, you can use this particular rule. So 10 to the power 6 minus 7, 10 to the power 6 minus 7, which is equal to 10 to the power minus 1. So this is the second rule which you have to remember. And the third rule is a to the power m whole to the power n is equal to a to the power m into n. For example, 10 to the power 6 whole to the power 2 is equal to 10 to the power 6 into 2, which is equal to 10 to the power 12. So let's see the last one. So the last rule is, I think nobody heard about this rule. This rule normally they don't talk about, but it is one of the important rule. So this rule is equal to a to the power n by m. So now let's see a few examples on this. So suppose say 2, root 2. Root 2, generally you're going to write it as half. I think you have written in this, but you don't know the reason why they write it as half. Now 2 to the power 1 is the like by default 2 to the power 1. And since it's a square root, square means 2, and you have 2 over here. So your m, so 2 is equal to your m and n equal to 1. So you can write this in this form. So let's see one more example. Say cube root of 2 is equal to 2. So as I told you, this is equal to n and this is equal to m, and you can write this as 1 by 3. So anything which is there in this cone comes at the bottom, and anything which is there at the power of this particular number, it will come at the numerator. So one more example, 2 square 2. This is equal to 2 to the power 2 by 2, cancel to the power 1. So as you can say, by default also, now you normally do square root gets cancelled. If you want to involve into more specific generalized using a rule, you can use this particular way to prove that. So these were the 4 important rules which you need to know about before going into the algebra of scientific or exponential notation. Now since you know about all the rules, so let's talk about few examples. So let us learn the rule for multiplication and division through an example. So now I have here an example in which 4.6 into 10 power 6 multiplied with, so as you know, if you don't have anything, by default it's a multiplication, into 3.9 into 10 power 9. So now what you're going to do, you're going to separate this capital N. So as you know, exponential notation is written in this form. So you're going to club this capital N in one way and this exponents in a different way. So I'm going to write it as 4.6 into 3.9 into 10 power 6 into 10 power 9. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the calculator and just simplify this normally, just like normal thing using calculator. And for this, I'm going to apply the rule which I told earlier. So this goes with the first rule. The first rule is 10 to the power m into 10 to the power n, or a to the power m into the b to the power n is equal to a to the power m plus n. So you just have to add the exponents. So if you add the exponents, you're going to get it as 10 power 15. And if you take the calculator and simplify this, you're going to be getting as So I'm going to be getting the answer as 17.94. So it's that easy. So let's see one more example on this particular multiplication. So the second example is written over here. So as I told you, first you take this capital N and write them separately. So 7.6 into 3.8, you're going to write a whole bracket for that, into, you're going to take their exponents and write it separately. So 10 power 7 into 10 power minus 4. So for this, you're going to take the calculator and just normally calculate this, multiply these two numbers and write it over here. Whereas for this, you can use the rule. So a to the power n into a to the power m is equal to a to the power n plus m. So apply the same rule over here. So 10 to the power 7 plus of minus 10 to the power minus 4. Just normal algebra. So you're going to get it as 10 to the power plus 3. So just do the math over there. I'm going to get the answer as 10 to the power plus 3. Whereas the answer for this is going to be 28.88. Okay, now let's talk about divisions. So division, so the question is going to be given in this way, or it's going to be given in this form, divided by 4.6 into 10 power 4. So either you can see the problem in this way or in this way. So the first thing you're going to do is take the capital N and write it separately, whereas take the exponents and write them separately. So I'm going to write it as 6.7 divided by 4.6 separately, multiply with 10 to the power 5 divided by 10 to the power 4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the rule 2, which is a to the power m by a to the power n is equal to a to the power m minus n. So I'm going to apply that rule over here. So as you apply for this, so I'm going to get it as, I'm going to write it over here. So 6.7 divided by 4.6, just take the calculator and just divide them normally and write it over here, or you can do manually also. So the answer for that is going to be 1.456, and the answer for this is going to be 10 to the power 5 minus 456 into 10 to the power 1. So this is going to be your answer. So let us see one more example on division. So as I told you, the question is going to be given in this way or in the form of fraction. Now if it is not given in the form of fraction, you're going to write it in the form of fraction. So I'm going to write it off. So 7.6 into 10 power 7 divided by 3.8 into 10 power minus 4. So the next thing what you're going to do is just club them normally and just write it down separately. 3.8 multiplied with 10 power 7 divided by 10 power minus 4. So the second thing is you're going to divide this part using calculator or normal manual method. So 1s are 2s are. Whereas for this, you're going to apply the rule. As I told you, the rule is 2 into 10 power 7 minus 4. So 2 into 10 to power 7 plus 4. So 2 into 10 to power 11. So this is going to be answer. So this was multiplication and division of scientific notation. Now let us see the addition and subtraction of scientific notation. So now let us see the rules for addition and subtraction. As I told you earlier, the rules for addition and subtraction is totally different from multiplication and division. So let us check the rules through an example. So you have an example in which 7.65 into 10 power 3 plus 8.69 into 10 power 4. So the first rule of addition or subtraction is you have to make sure that the exponents are equal. In this case, as you can see, the exponents are totally different. You have 10 to the power 3 here, whereas you have 10 to the power 4 here. So you have two options. Either you can increase this to 10 to the power 4 and then add it, or you can decrease this to 10 to the power 3 and then add it. So I'm going to check the both methods in which you can solve this particular problem. So let us see the first way in which you can increase this exponent to 4 and then add. So I'm going to write this separately. I'm going to write this as 7.65 into 10 power 3. Now what I'm going to do, in order to make it 4, I'm going to multiply and divide it by 10. So as you know, if you multiply or divide with the same number, they get cancelled out and you're going to get it as 1, in which if you multiply it with 1, you're going to get the same number. So there is no problem in me multiplying and divide it with 10. So what I'm going to do next is 7.65 into 10 power 3 into 10 power 1 divided by 10. So next the rule 7.65 divided by 10 into 10 to the power 3 plus 1. Previous rule. I hope you remember that. So I'm going to divide this. So 0.765 into 10 to the power 4. So now we have matched the exponents of this with this. So now next what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace this number with this number, which is totally same. So 0.765 into 10 power 4 plus 8.69 into 10 power 4. So next what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna normally add them. So take these two numbers and add them. 0.765 plus 8.69 whole multiplied with 10 to the power 4. So you can see I have taken 10 power 4 out and written in this form, and I've added these two numbers. So you can either take the calculator or just add manually these two numbers. So the answer is going to be 9.455 into 10 to the power 4. So this is the way in which you can add or subtract the exponents. Now suppose you had multiplication. So suppose you have subtraction over here. Suppose imagine you had subtraction over here. Just the same rule. Instead of addition, you're going to get subtraction, and just subtract this in a normal way. So you're going to get your answer as minus 7.925 into 10 to the power 4. So that's it. So this was one way in which you can adjust this to this. So the second way is adjusting this to this. So I'm going to teach you that also in case if you want to know. So let us see the second way of solving this, in which you adjust this exponent to this. That is to making this into 10 to the power 3. So what I do, I take this separately, 8.69 to 10 to the power 4. In order to make it 10 to the power 3, what I'm going to do, I'm going to divide it by 1 by 10 to the power 10. And in order to make no changes, I'm going to again take 1 by 10 to the power 10 and multiply it with it. So what I'm going to get it as, so 8.69 into 10 to the power 10 divided by 10 whole divided by 1 by 10. So what happens to this? So throw this thing, so 10 to the power 4 by 10. So that is equal to 10 to the power 4 minus 1. That is equal to 10 to the power 3. And what happens to this? This gets multiplied with the numerator. And remember, if it goes to the numerator, this reciprocates. So what happens to this? 10 by 1 into 8.69 into 10 to the power 3, which is nothing but 86.9 into 10 to the power 3. Well, now what I can do, I can replace this number with this number. That's what I'm exactly going to do now. I'm going to erase this and replace this number with this number. 65 into 10 to the power 3 minus 86.9 into 10 to the power 3. So just normal subtraction you're going to do right now. So 7.65 minus 9 multiplied with 10 to the power 3. So you take your calculator and just subtract these two. So answer is going to be as, so your answer is going to be 10 to the power 3. And now to write this in the form of scientific notation, what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift this point to over here. So if I do that, 7.925 into 10 to the power, as I told you, if you shift towards the left, you're going to write it as plus 1 into 10 to the power 3. And if you add this, 7.925 into 10 to the power 4. So this is the way in which you can add, subtract, multiply and divide the scientific notation numbers or exponential notation. I'm going to do one more example on this particular addition and subtraction so that all the doubts will be clarified off and you'll be thorough with this particular concept. So now let us solve the last example. So as you can see from the question itself, in this particular exponent you have 10 to the power minus 4, whereas for this you have 10 to the power minus 5. So you have two options. Either you could decrease this to 10 to the power minus 5 or you can increase this to 10 to the power minus 4. So what I'm going to do, since it's easier to increase it to 10 to the power minus 4, I'm going to select this and modify it. So 2.61. It's actually your choice. You can either take this or this according to your needs. Now since modifying this seems to be easier than this, I'm going to take this and modify this. So 10 power 5, so 10 power minus 5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply and divide it by 10. So as you know, 10 power 1, 10 power 1. So as you simplify this, 10 power 1 by 10 and 10 power minus 5 plus 1. So my answer will be 0.261 into 10 power minus 4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace this number with this number. So I'm going to be left with 7.87 into 10 power minus 4 minus 0.261 into 10 power minus 4. So as I told you, just subtract these two numbers, 87 minus 0.261, and take these two exponents outside as a common one, minus 4. So just take your calculator and just simplify this. So your answer is going to be 7.609 into 10 power minus 4. Now suppose if you had addition over here, just nothing, just add. Instead of just subtracting, you just add these two numbers and you're gonna get different value over here, and that's going to be your answer. So this was the algebra involving scientific notation. I hope you understood this video. If you learned something new, make sure you subscribe to my channel and just ask whatever the concept you want in the comments. I'm gonna try to make a video on it, and I'll meet you in the next video. Thank you.